Coming to you live on location, this is the Between the Benches podcast, where we will discuss anything and everything hockey related. Let's drop the puck and get the action underway. All right, and welcome back into another episode of the Between the Benches podcast. As always, it's your host, Dak. Hope everybody's enjoying their day, evening, whenever you're catching us. We're back. We're coming to you live on location as we advertise. I'm joined. We're a throuple again. I hope you guys know that. We've got the whole gang. So joining me as always, we have the reigning, defending Delaware Open PBA champion, Graham Fa. Graham, how are we?
Fantastic. I'm probably going to be a little rusty here, but I hope to give you guys the best info I can.
We expect nothing but good stats out of you. We want relative information. You never get things wrong. You know, we're undefeated on this segment.
Yeah,
is what I
never.
heard.
What everyone online says too.
Nice. Yes, speaking of online, we have the low man himself, Brock Finch, big Canada daddy.
I wasn't low man by much. God, you always got to twist the knife.
Yeah. Sorry, pal.
I'm well. Thank you for asking, Dak.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just peachy keen. Happy to be here. Happy to be back.
Nice.
Let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, before we get into tonight's episode, we're going to talk some playoffs. Going to talk the Useless President's Trophy that Brock loves to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into it, though, if you haven't already, please like, follow, subscribe to us, the Between the Benches podcast, on any social medias, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. As always, we do appreciate it. Let's go around the rink, sponsored by your ad here. So, speaking of being around the rink, I want to talk about the Avalanche. They did play tonight. They did lose, which I'll let our resident Leaf homer get to that in just a second. But coming into tonight, they were 8-0-1 in their past 9 games. They were sitting 4 points behind the Stars and second in the Central. Obviously Dallas has got a game in hand. They got Mikko Rantanen at the trade deadline, which we really haven't had a chance to talk about. So if you want to throw that in there, feel free.
Oh yeah,
they have a pretty comfortable lead on Minnesota, but they played Toronto tonight. They got beat at home 2-1. I mean, is this? Do we see? Okay, maybe I should pose the question this way: can you see the Avalanche as a banner team? I still don't know if I could see the Avalanche winning the cup, the confetti coming down. Obviously, we've seen it happen before, but I don't know if I could see it this year. And tell me why I'm right or wrong.
Well, resident Leafs homer, Graham, you want to step up?
You're right, Dalton, in the way that there's 31 other teams, but you're wrong as in this is the strongest Colorado team that has been since they won the cup.
Yeah.
Now, Landeskog is buzzing in practice. He's doing the old LTIR trick. And
that's speculation. Allegedly.
We've talked.
Allegedly.
And I think this team is very strong. Like, it's hard to replace Rantanen, but look at Necas just plugged in.
Oh,
and now you add Nelson. Coyle. I'm putting Landeskog in there.
I have had the chance to watch them 3 times in the past week, including tonight. If you don't think they're a cup contender, you're just not watching them. Like, all that tells me, Dalton, is you haven't watched them play. That's all. Go watch an Avs game. And
hey, I'm here to throw questions, okay?
That's true. I'm just saying they are like far and away the best version of themselves since they won the cup. What was that? 2 years ago? When was that? 2023? Like, oh man, they are fast. Necas, once him and McKinnon figured out the whole, they're both right-handed. It's been
nice.
click, 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 click. Like they've looked like ridiculous together. It's almost funny. Like, you didn't think anybody could look better than Rantanen next to McKinnon. Oh, here's someone that can actually skate. Not to say Rantanen's a bad skater, but Necas is like just really
bigger,
fast.
isn't he? He's like 6'3".
Well, Rantanen's very big in comparison to Necas. Necas is still like 6'2", 190, but yeah, Rantanen's a big boy in comparison.
I mean, McKinnon's still the fastest on the line, no matter who he's with.
Oh yeah, without question.
Unless
I'm just saying it's funny when you put someone who's really skilled and can keep up with McKinnon, how it actually improves the whole situation. Their power play looks dangerous. Makar looks like he's doing Makar things. He's hit another gear again. I don't know, man. Like, they look like a wagon. They are a banner team. To bring that back home, they are a banner team.
Well, until they can beat by Dallas in the first round, right?
Spoiler: they are my pick in the West.
Nice. Okay. Well,
we'll get to that. Changes between now.
We'll get to that. Don't worry. That'll be an episode down the
road.
road.
Can we just give props to Marty Necas right now? Like, think about the names we're giving, like Necas and Rantanen in the comparison. Imagine if we said that last year.
Oh, you'd be
how
ridiculous.
dumb would
you
look?
You'd sound very dumb. Yeah.
And right now it's
very dumb.
like a perfect swap. So kudos to him.
Yeah.
Next year, $6.5 million. That's the cap.
Can we talk about how the value of Mikko Rantanen gone down since like seeing like Martin, Necas getting plugged in and playing so well? Do you think that affects the market value of a guy like Mikko Rantanen when he goes to? Obviously, he got his extension, but I don't know. I feel like
you mean like
what? You think that was Carolina's
talking about? I immediately
went
to fantasy value.
What I mean, the fantasy value. You could talk about. I mean,
the fantasy value goes down.
Naturally, yes. Anytime a player changes situation, if you want to talk fantasy, I could go cite a bunch of different trades. Their fantasy value almost always stays the same. At best, it stays the same, or it goes down. Very rarely does it improve until they've had time to, reallocate, whatever. I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but they've had time to acclimate. There it is, bingo. Acclimate to their new situation. So from a fantasy perspective, yes. From a real world perspective, I don't know if that's a fair question because Rantanen just got he got a $96 million contract. So, I mean, he got his money and, tax-free state as well. Like everybody's throwing that around right now because he would have apparently Carolina offered him over $100 million. He said no. And I'm sure it wasn't just money. I'm sure it was like situation, team. I don't know. I'm sure there was a lot more than just the money that went into that decision, but it's hard for me to say Rantanen's value went down.
Less ice time just because Dallas is more balanced than they were in Colorado.
And then he hasn't even played 10 games. Like we don't have enough information. We don't have enough information on
how playoff time that can change. But again, short term, this is what
even just next year though. Like come playoff time, sure, that's a whole other thing and a whole other situation. But like how does he deployed over the 80 games he's going to play for them next year? I don't know. I don't know. Like right now,
playoffs, it's almost like every game's a must-win. Regular season, all right, let's see what we get. We'll juggle the lines. We'll see who's got chemistry for the playoff games.
I would hope that's
every team is all in for the playoffs.
Yeah, I would hope that's what they're doing, but it's neither here nor there. Like, all I'm saying is the jury's out. I guess would be my answer to your question, Dalton. That I'm 100% sure how Rantanen's value has or hasn't changed, and I don't even know if it matters because, like I said, he's off the market.
Yeah,
he signed his long-term deal.
He's got no deal, right?
He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, I'm sure he's got a full no move. I don't actually know.
I'm sure at this point. Another life comes at you fast. One I thought about too. How about Mackenzie Blackwood? Right? I mean, one day you're waking up as a loser, and the next day you wake up, oh my God, we're on a conquest.
One of the best teams in the league. Yep.
That's crazy how life comes at you fast. So. We'll definitely keep our eye. I just said they've been hot lately. I figured they would be with Landeskog. Obviously, the footage coming out of him being at practice, they were kind of the talk of the town, at least the last couple hours of social media. So, but the playoff races are heating up. It's almost playoff time. I think we've got 20 games? No, 17, I think. 16, 17, 15, somewhere in that area. 15.
Yeah.
So, speaking of, we're going to start in the East because I think that's really where – I think we've talked about it in the beginning of this podcast back in the previews that the East was going to be more of the jumbled mess. You weren't real sure. But currently, as it sits, we have Ottawa at 67 games played. They control the first wild card position. They have 77 points. Montreal is in that second covenant wild card spot with 67 games and 73 points. The New York Rangers are sitting just behind them. 69 games played, 72 points. The Islanders, these people, they were talking about this team being sellers. I mean, they did sell Brock Nelson, but they got a great return, which we'll talk about that in a second because that was the other part of the Colorado take that they got rid of Cal Ritchie, right? And I think that could come back to get him, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then the Columbus Blue Jackets are right there as well. They got 67 games and 70 points. The Islanders have 70 points as well. Don't know if I mentioned that. And then the Red Wings are right there. 68 games played, 70 points. Who we taking? So Ottawa's got a 96% chance to make the playoffs, but we basically have 4 teams for one spot. If you had to put your money down right now, who are we taking?
Graham, you want to take this one?
Nope.
Somebody.
I'm sticking with the Rangers.
Nice.
I can't give up on them now.
Homer. You fucking Homer. Oh my God. Go ahead, defend your pick, and then I'll say why you're dumb. What do you mean what's there to defend? How many shots did they have in their last game, Graham?
Oh, I'm sorry. Does that matter?
It does, actually, because they didn't win either.
See, that's what matters.
Oh, okay, yeah. Would you say there's a correlation between shots on goal and winning?
I mean, rather than shitting on my pick, let's hear yours.
Well, no, that's not what this is about. We're shitting on you. Right that's not what this is about.
They're the strongest team of any team in this race.
Yeah,
I am not betting against them.
Yeah, you think? Even if they've sold like half their team they started with this year?
Who'd they sell that was of value? Trouba's the biggest value.
And even that's up for debate.
I mean, Kako's been playing.
Kako, I was gonna say Kako wasn't nothing, man.
He's basically been a point.
He wasn't nothing, but he wasn't high value.
He's playing well per game in Seattle. Yeah, I was gonna say he's close to point per game.
He's playing really well in Seattle. He's not getting the deployment.
I don't know.
In the range.
I would have said Columbus if you asked me this question a week ago. I would have said Columbus, and now I've got 3 more games of information, and oh boy, all of a sudden it's like they're playing scared. The puck's not going in. Now they did seem to outplay, was it the Devils? Devils they just lost to?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of metrics would have suggested they should have won that game, but
did they?
24 shots in the third period, by the way. Jake Allen was 23 of 24
That's
on
pretty
saves
good.
just in the third period alone.
Attempts in the third.
Yeah, something pretty ridiculous. So I still, like, the Columbus fan in me wants to believe, but given how the wheels seem to finally be coming off a little bit, I'm still going to hold my breath. I actually think the Montreal Canadiens pulled this off. They didn't sell. They also didn't buy. I don't see a reason why they can't continue to improve from within. And if, the chips fall correctly, they get some solid goaltending, I don't see why they can't sneak in. I'd have to go look at their schedule and see if they play some of the other Atlantic teams. Like, they just beat Ottawa, which is big. Granted, I don't think Ottawa's missing.
Columbus plays Ottawa 3 times still, I think.
See, that's big. That's big. That would definitely
That's
dictate.
why I'm not giving it to Ottawa.
Sure. Well, dude, they're.
No,
I think Ottawa's very safe.
We can skip past
96.
that, but I'm not giving.
96% chance of making the playoffs according
As per
to
what?
NHL Edge stats.
NHL
Edge
stats?
Okay. Or playoff predictor, yeah.
So I guess where I'd like to look at this next, if we were talking about this again next week, I'd like to do a deep dive into Montreal's schedule and figure out who they play down the stretch, because like the example you just gave, Ottawa playing Columbus 3 times, that's huge. That's a 6-point swing. That's a 12-point swing, actually. Sorry. That's a 12-point swing.
No, that's a 6.
I've got some of the schedule right here.
Whether you win or lose dictates how much it fluctuates. So it's 12.
Do you want to hear the rest of March for them? They have the Islanders, they have the Avs, they have the Blues.
Who is this?
The Flyers. This is
Montreal.
for the Canadiens. Yep.
Okay.
The Islanders, Avs, Blues, Flyers, Canes, and Panthers. That's the rest of the month. And then for April, you have the Panthers, Bruins, Flyers, Preds, Red Wings, Senators, Maple Leafs, and then they end with the Blackhawks and the Hurricanes. So
bit of a weaker end. I'd say a bit of a weaker end. That front part was that the next couple weeks are going to be rough.
Yeah. You're going to find out a lot about the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. If they can come out, let's say at the end of March they're 500 or right around there, I think Montreal could absolutely pull this off. Absolutely. I see no reason.
There's so many teams that could pull this off.
There's
so many future bets right now that people think they have a chance.
Oh, of course.
And I think that's awesome, because usually when we're this late in the season, it's already drawn out for us. We're already picking brackets.
Yeah, that is a very fair point. And we'll get to the West here in a second, so I won't jump over there. But you're right to kind of, stand on the fence with that statement. I'm not saying you're standing on the fence literally. I'm just saying that, playing devil's advocate. Yeah, of course, every other team that's in this race, the Islanders included, the Jackets included, the Red Wings included. We were sitting here completely ignoring them. They're still
because
everyone's thought they were a lock, and now
that was my
all of a sudden Canadians go from out of nowhere.
I never thought that Red Wings were a lock, but you're right to point that out. That's fair.
Well, how long? That was my question: is how long does Yzerman still have a job? Because at the beginning of the year, it's supposed to be playoffs are out. So
you want a hot take?
They have a 7% chance of making the playoffs. Them and the Jackets have the same.
You want a hot take? They miss. He's fired.
That's not a hot take.
That's what I'm going to say. I thought that was already known coming.
That's Steve Yzerman in Detroit.
Right.
Detroit Red Wings legend is now your GM, and you're telling me him getting fired, regardless of circumstance, isn't a big deal. That's what you're saying?
I mean, it was
I would think it's welcomed.
Will it be?
Yeah, they haven't made the playoffs in a.
Welcome by who?
Playoffs. They have not made the playoffs in a decade.
Okay, I'm not a Detroit fan. I don't have any investment in that.
Right.
I don't know what he's happy like. Oh yay, we missed. Again.
You're so entitled as a Toronto fan. You don't even take that into account that they haven't made the playoffs in a decade, and you're like, oh, that's nothing. It's because you go there every year. Come on, what are we talking? Like, this is a fan base of original 6 team, and you're just like, they haven't made the playoffs in a decade, bro.
The Leafs haven't won a cup since '67.
Okay, but
I understand what it means to have a drought. I understand.
Exactly. So
I understand a drought. But I'm just saying that if I grew up watching Steve Yzerman play, and a lot of Detroit fans are older, I'm not saying they're young, that would be conflicting to me. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
I think they're still going to have these good memories of Steve Yzerman wearing the sweater, but not the suit.
Okay. I really do hope it's that simple.
Yeah.
I really do. Objectively, he shouldn't have a job right now. I'm not defending the guy having a job. I'm just trying to understand how I might feel as, a fan or anyone else in that city.
You know what you sound like? You sound like Graham picking the Rangers to make the playoffs because they do have the highest percentage, 35% chance to Graham's point. So we'll see what happens.
The Red Wings got a better chance than the fucking
over to the Western Conference playoff race. It's probably, I don't want to say it's not as dicey because we're talking about playoffs here. It could get hot. It could get hot. We don't know yet, but we have as it stands right now, we have the Minnesota Wild. They are currently occupying that first wild card spot. They have 68 games played, 81 points, 91% chance they hold the highest odds out of these teams we're going to mention. Vancouver is currently in the second wild card position. They have 68 games played, 75 points. Then we have St. Louis. They have 69 games with 75 points. You have Calgary at 67 games with 73 points. And then you have Utah. We'll just mention them just for vibes. But they have 68 games and 71 points. So, again, I ask you a question. If you had to pick between the 3 or 4 teams for basically what it seems to be one spot, which direction are we going here? I think this is interesting. I think it's so fascinating how this answer changes from week to week, by the way.
That's a fair point.
I'm going to say Vancouver holds it.
Ooh, okay. Go ahead.
They got the best player of the 3 teams, Quinn Hughes.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were about to say Pettersson. I'm like, I think that might be up for debate, but that's a much better answer. Yes.
I want to see Calgary do it just for the storyline. A team that sells, supposed to be, rebuilding. And you got this rookie goaltender, got a kind of bit of a resurgence from Huberdeau. What's not to love there? And more Canadian teams in the playoffs.
Sure.
But Vancouver's got that. So
the only reason I would love to see Calgary, and then again for the story, they are literally second last or dead last in like almost every single scoring metric. And yet they're still somehow in a playoff. Well, they were in a playoff spot up until like yesterday or the day before.
Defense wins championships.
I would say Dustin Wolf wins championships. If he doesn't win the Calder and they get in, I genuinely think that's a crime. I think it's a crime.
Got a future ticket on him.
What he's doing is absolutely. They don't have a single person who has more than 50 points. They don't have a single person with more than 30 goals. Remember, we've only got like 10, 15 games to go. and yet they are still in the hunt for this last playoff spot. It's quite literally incredible.
Well, speaking of incredible, I would say the Blues. And I think they're revolutionizing the game in front of our very eyes, especially with the salary cap and everything going on with these offer sheet moves. Because I'm telling you right now, the way they've conducted business is going to change what off seasons bring and what these compensatory picks and everything become in the future.
I really like that take from a perspective of, us making content, obviously. But if they get in after offer sheeting, like Dylan Holloway, that looks like a home run.
Yeah.
He's only making like 2.1 million. He's got 30 goals. Like that is a home
run.
Not
yet. He's going to have 30 goals, hopefully.
Okay, fine. Whatever. But I think that will encourage other teams to do offer sheets. I actually think Chicago this year is going to do something absolutely crazy. Whether it's try to sign Marner if he gets to free agency or send some massive offer sheet to a big name. I'm really excited to see if offer sheets get more play in the coming years.
They also have a 44% chance of making it. I was kind of looking at their schedule, and they have a little bit of the Central leading. So with they have 2 games against Nashville left. They've got 2 games against Chicago left on the schedule. They've got the Pens. They've got the Red Wings. They've got the Kraken, and they've got the Hockey Club. So
that's honestly,
I was going to say, I think they've got a pretty light schedule
pretty
here, heading down the stretch, if you will. So I'm leaning Blues. I think it's interesting. Did the Four Nations face-off springboard Jordan Bennington into playing? I mean, you're right too with the coaching change. I didn't think of it that way.
Bennington does look like a different goalie since the Four Nations. He's looked like Bennington when they won the Cup. It's kind of ridiculous.
I mean, he's got offensive help now too. I mean, Jordan Kyrou is playing well.
What?
You just say they're going to win the Cup?
No, I said he's playing like when they won the Cup. Bennington.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Ever since that game, I am so sorry, Mr. Bennington. I will never doubt you again. Oh my God. I will say
Canada owes him a thank you card.
Yeah, before we move off of this, I will give some love to my Utah Hockey Club. I would agree with either of your takes. I think Vancouver or St. Louis is going to end up in this spot. But Utah, man, I just wish they went and used some of those. They got 1 billion picks. I wish they went and bought something and, gave it an honest push.
They bought their own team.
That's true. But I don't know. To me, I said it like a long time ago. Go get a top 6 piece and give this a push. Play some meaningful games. Not to say they aren't playing meaningful games right now. Like, they're not out of it. It's just not looking good. That's all. And then they got absolutely rinsed yesterday by the fucking Oilers. Jesus Christ. That was a rough watch. I had that game on in the background while I was doing some shit. Holy Lord Almighty. But yes. Utah, please do something this offseason. Do something. Become more relevant.
Sincerely, Big Canada Daddy. We're also going to talk about, we got 2 teams in the President's Trophy race. It's basically all but over except for these 2 teams. So we're going to start with the Capitals. You guys, obviously, there's Capitals and the Jets are the 2 teams we have kind of coming down to the haunches here. So 68 games played for the Capitals. 98 total points. They're 7-3-0 in their last 10. I'm going to give you some other fun stats that just hear me out. So the Capitals have the most road wins in the NHL at 23. They have 15 total losses this season, which is also the least amount in the NHL. They have a plus 72 goal differential. It's second best. They've scored 248 goals this season, which is also the highest in the league. They have allowed 176 goals this year, which is the second least amount. And everyone on the roster with at least 30 games has a plus rating. So there's 3 players on the roster with a minus rating. One of them has played like 22 games, is done for the season. The other 2 guys have only played 3 or 4. So didn't include them. I'm sure it's injuries or whatever the case. So, and then the last thing, obviously, Ovi is 8 away from the scoring record. So I think there's motivation. I think there's cause in the building. That's my little stat sheet on the Caps. Now, let me give you some stats on the Jets, and you can tell me what your picks are. So the Jets have played 69 games. They have 98 total points as well. They're not as hot in their last 10. They've got 5-4-1 in their last 10. They have 162 goals allowed this year, which is the least in the NHL. Obviously, Connor Hellebuck, or Mr. Vezina, as they like to call him nowadays. They are 31% on the power play this season. That's top in the league. Some other like NHL edge stats I found, 96%. They're in the 96th percentile of top team skating, which I thought was interesting. So that's like the burst of 18 to 20 and then burst of 20 to 22 and then burst of like 22 to 24 miles per hour. So, and then 99th percentile of goals from long range. They've scored 23 goals this season from long range. The league average is 14. So their defensemen or their shot from the points are going in at a pretty high rate this season. So they're scoring from distance. They're really good at it. They're really good from scoring those high danger chances as well. Mark Scheifele actually leads the league in high danger scoring chance shooting percentage, career year. But all right, tell me who's going to win the President's Trophy, and I can be quiet for a minute.
I mean, you can't go wrong here, honestly.
Well,
you can logic, but you can logic your way into a decision one way or the other and be right up until the end.
Maybe the better question
I pick whoever Brock doesn't.
Nice. Okay.
All right. I will take the Jets then because
There
they
it
have
is.
the best goalie on the planet, and they already have a small lead or a game in hand, one of those two. So, yeah, I'll take the Jets. Fuck you, Graham. Moving
Which
on.
team is more poised for a letdown? Maybe that's a better question.
Oh, Washington.
Which team?
Oh,
Washington.
for a letdown? What do you mean?
Massive letdown. Oh, yeah. Their goaltending's starting to look shaky. I think in the first round, they could lose.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow,
Spoiler.
you heard it here first.
I mean, the Capitals have the magic. They've had it all year. I'm not betting against.
I'm
still
just
don't know
saying-
how they're doing this well.
That's what I mean.
But
I
I've
could
learned to just stop
see
questioning it.
I could see the wheels falling off in the playoffs, but we'll
Tom
see.
Wilson won't let that happen.
Yeah, he's definitely going to keep this pace up.
Yeah,
Should we
like
get
I said,
20%?
they got Ovi in the building. He's going for the goal record, man. They want to end that in a cup
the
season.
goal,
Do you think,
the goal record doesn't happen in the playoffs. So
Do you think if
I saw
Ovi-
something about Ovi and a different record chase.
Ooh,
Have you guys heard about this?
don't think. Well, maybe.
most empty
all-time
netters
hit.
of all time?
Yes, I did see this.
He is
I
around
did see this.
300 away from the all-time hits record.
Nice.
You want to talk about a fucking unicorn? How many? You'll never see that again. A person to score the most goals and have the most hits, you'll never see that again. I promise. That player will never exist, at least as
just
far
gotta
as
get
I'm
to see it.
concerned. If we get to see it, that would be amazing. We are getting to see it. Oh,
Yeah, I was going to say hello.
we are getting to see it. If we ever got to see it again,
Well, fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens. I think if you're going to lean President's Trophy, I think you got to lean toward the Jets just because there's more Western teams out of contention, and they'll probably play more Western Conference teams down the stretch. But that's just my logic.
Again,
behind it.
you could
So,
logic your way into this a billion different ways.
But shifting gears from the best of the best, we're going to talk about the best of the best of the best. So if you seen Men in Black ever, but anyway, all right, cool. It's time for power rankings. We're gonna have Brock go first. Brock, how are you? How you got on my power rankings? Give me the top 5 teams in the NHL according to Brock Finch, Big Canada Daddy.
I will go 5-1. I have Dallas after all the wonderful moves they made at the deadline. In 5th, I have Colorado in 4th. After we waxed poetic about them earlier, I probably should have had them higher. And then the Leafs fan in me had to put Florida at 3 because fuck you, they got Brad Marchand. And I hate that so goddamn much. He's going to show up game 1 of the playoffs. And God, I can't.
Wait, is this power rankings right now or power rankings during the cup?
Right now.
Right now.
And then
Florida 3rd without Kachuk and Marchand and Ekblad.
they're still fucking winning. Have you
Right.
not been paying attention? They just rinsed the Leafs like not even a week ago. They not rinsed. They only won by 1.
It's the Leafs.
Okay.
It's been since
Moving on.
1967, Graham.
Number 2 on my list, I have Washington, and then number 1, I have Winnipeg.
All right.
Do we need to talk about Winnipeg and Washington some more? Because we can.
Nah.
We can.
Well, since you're going all chalk, Graham, what do you got? It's unlike your NCAA bracket,
Yeah.
by the way.
I got number 5 Florida, number 4 Dallas, number 3 Colorado,
Nice.
2 Winnipeg, and 1 Washington. I was always going to pick Washington for the Presidents. I just wanted to give you control.
I do like how
Okay.
my pick matched up with my rankings because that would have been very funny if it didn't.
Yeah, that
Very
is,
funny
yeah.
if it didn't.
We just, especially since they were back-to-back topics,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would have been really funny. That would have been funny. Well,
I'm
fair enough.
surprised you didn't have the Rangers in there, Graham.
It's not a 6-team list.
There it is. That's a good point. It's
Yeah,
a
they were
5.
6.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just
yeah,
missed
yeah,
it.
yeah,
They just
yeah,
missed
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. This guy got Lipscomb in the Sweet 16. He knows
Damn
exactly
right.
what he's talking
You're
about.
damn right.
But no, I've got so number 5, I've got Washington. Number 4, I've got Winnipeg. Number 3, I've got Colorado. I've still got Florida at 2. To Brock's point, they're still winning, and I think Dallas is the top team to look out for. Even right now, even in the future, I think they are the number 1 team. It did come out today that Miro Heiskanen might miss the first round of the playoffs, I believe.
Mm.
So that could be a big deal because they're more
will
likely
be.
going to be playing Colorado, which is going to be a bloodbath. So, last thing too, the real winner in the whole trade deadline situation, and you guys can't tell me wrong, but it's the Vegas Golden Knights. I just want you guys to know that because the Vegas Golden Knights just got a cakewalk to the Western Conference Finals. So
They really do.
Yeah,
They really,
the
really
bloodbath
do.
that is going to ensue between Dallas and Colorado. Obviously, the Jets are going to get the second wild card team, and then the Jets are going to get the winner of that series, and then they're probably going to turn back into the Jets. So, yeah, Vegas has got to beat Edmonton if they can get past Edmonton, because Edmonton's going to take care of LA. We all know that story, but yeah, big winner in the trade deadline, Vegas Golden Knights. Heard it here first. So, shifting gears. We're going to talk Staty to me. Can we get one of these right? That's all I want to know. Can we get one of these right?
All right.
We're going to find out. I think technically Brock did get like one of the first ones right, because I gave him a softball like the first ever time we did this. So I think he did get one or two of them right. But
yeah, suck it, Graham.
We are going to get into Talk Staty to me. This is courtesy of moneypuck.com. So you can check out those stats, educate yourself, figure out what's going on. So, fellas, first one up for bids. Can you tell me what player leads the league in total shifts at 2,170? 2,170 shifts. Brock, you're up first.
Okay. Give me Cale Makar.
Okay. Graham?
It's got to be a defenseman. Cale has missed some time. Shit, I am on the spot. Adam Fox.
We were looking for Rasmus Anderson. Rasmus
Great
Anderson
idea.
was the
Great idea.
Yeah, you guys were on the right path. You're on the right path, and to Graham's point, Cale Makar did miss some games this year. So, all right, 0 for 1. Let's move on to the second one. So, 2 players this season have played over 25 games in the league and have not recorded a single penalty minute. Can you name either one of them or both of them?
Gosh.
One of these names you do know for sure.
Graham's up first.
Graham is up first.
I am up first. Okay. Oh, gosh.
Remember, this is great podcasting.
So. Huberdeau.
That is okay. That is a guess.
And two names.
Yeah. Do you want to? Okay. That one's incorrect. Do you want to give me another guess?
Another guess. Let's go Lane Hudson.
Lane Hudson. That is incorrect as well. Big Canada Daddy. Give me 2 guesses.
Barkov
is incorrect. How about another one?
Then give me Reinhart.
Sam Reinhart. Oh my God, that is also incorrect. Sorry about
you
that.
You got my hopes up so much.
It's got to be like a third liner.
We were looking for William Karlsson of the Vegas Golden Knights and John Marino of the Utah Hockey Club.
Okay, yeah, would not have got Marino.
Yeah, Marino, I was not very aware of.
It can't be a guy on the ice the whole time.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. All right, that one's a tough one. I figured maybe Bill would sneak into somebody's head, but we'll see. So, all right, next question up for bid here. Which player leads the league in shots that are blocked? So this is a shot that they took or attempted, and it ended up in a block. Can you tell me what player in the league leads the league?
Oh, so the shooter. The shooter.
Okay. That is correct. Okay. The shooter that shoots the most shots that get blocked.
Okay, and I got to go first. Fine.
And you are up first.
Somebody that shoots a lot then. Give me McKinnon.
Okay. Graham?
Give me Yossi.
You are on the right path. It is Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson has 190 block shots this season. So you're on the right path.
I was confident in that one.
Yeah, you were thinking, I like
this defenseman, longer range shots.
100%. Yeah, if you watch Canada Daddy play Chell, you get to see those block shots all the time. He likes to hit people in the ankles. So,
all right.
Graham, you were going to be up next for our next question. We got 2 more, so let's see. Let's see if we can get this one. I went a little bit easier on this one. So, can you tell me what team leads the league in percentage of goals created from rebounds at 20.15%? So we'll just call it 20%.
20%. All right, so it's got to be a team that crashes.
1 of every 5 of their goals. Huh.
Hyman's had a down year, so I don't want to say Edmonton. I'm going to say Dallas.
Okay. Brock?
No, they're too skilled. Fuck me. Give it.
It's not an answer.
Give me Vegas.
Vegas. You are on the right path. Vegas is actually second in this category.
God damn it.
LA Kings is 20% of the Kings' goals of rebounds. So.
Just out of curiosity, do you have where Toronto is on that list? I almost said Toronto.
Let's see here.
If you don't have it on hand, it's fine. I was just curious. That was going to be my second guess.
You just would have been wrong twice. My other guess would have been Calgary.
I think Calgary was a good answer. This was the rebounds. Let me check real quick. This is great podcasting.
This is why we had it.
This is why we had it.
Toronto is 8th.
Okay, top half.
So,
Top
yeah.
third.
Top third. So,
All right,
last one. Yep, here we go. Last one. Which team leads the league in hits taken at 1,626?
Hits taken.
Yes, so they get hit more.
So they have the puck a lot.
So this is the team that gets hit.
Am I first? I'm
most.
first, right?
You are first.
You are first. Naturally. I'm surprised you had to ask.
I always finish first. But they have the puck a lot. Maybe they're a little smaller. Give me Edmonton.
Okay. Graham?
Montreal.
Montreal. Nice. That is not correct. Sorry. We're looking for the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars was the team we were looking for.
Like he hasn't said if you're right or wrong.
That is incorrect. Sorry.
I thought about Dallas. I was torn between the Edmonton, Dallas, and I even thought about Vancouver.
I thought Vancouver too.
Yeah, I even thought about Vancouver.
Yeah,
I thought it had to be a team that would hit a lot for the other team to make them want to get hit back.
Nice.
Not bad.
That's logic.
That's not bad. I pictured a team that was highly skilled. Colorado even crossed my mind. Highly skilled, but like always had the puck so they could get hit a lot. Yeah.
I think Vancouver leads the league in least amount of shots, by the way, by like 5 or 6 behind Chicago. I didn't know if you guys would guess that one. I thought that one felt
interesting
a
stat.
Yeah, that was an amazing stat. They have like 1,300, and I think Washington leads the league at like 1,700. So they have like 400 less shots than. Think about that over a season so far. Yeah, crazy.
Pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of freaking crazy, we've got the best segment on the show coming up, right? To some people. So it's time for the fantasy corner. This is for the week of 324. It's either week 1 or week 2 of your playoff brackets.
That is correct. Yes.
And I'm gonna let Big Canada take over from here. Make us smarter. Tell me how to win. I gotta buy. Talk to me like I gotta buy.
You do have a bye. We'll touch on that towards the end. I will mention some stuff on that. So let's run through the schedules real quick. You know the deal. We're looking at off nights. We're looking to maximize those games played. I will take this moment to remind you that when I give you these off nights, I'm not necessarily always saying when they are. There are ways to get, say, 2 off nights with your first pickup and get 2 more later in the week with someone else that has their 2 off nights later. So just check your schedule real quick. I'm just giving you some teams to start thinking about. So the best schedule next week by far is the teams that play 4 times, and there's only 2 teams that play with 3 off nights. That's Vancouver and New Jersey. Next week, Sunday is technically a busy day as more than half the league plays. I think it's just half the league. I think it's 18, so 9 games. I think. But yeah, Vancouver, New Jersey, with the Devils being beaten up, you might be able to scoop up someone who's had a bit of an elevated role, say like an Andre Palat or even a Dawson Mercer. Just depends on if he does hold top power play. I don't know if even as I'm saying this, I don't know if he still has it. So just check your wire, check where everybody's being played. Daily Faceoff is great for that. And then teams that play 4 times with 2 off nights, Dallas, the New York Islanders, and Utah. Again, Dallas is so deep, it's usually pretty easy to get one of their middle 6 guys in for a stream. Mason Marchment comes to mind there. The Islanders are pretty depleted, but somehow in a playoff push race, which is interesting. And then Utah, they've got some niche guys where you can snipe some hits and whatnot with that if you're in a categories league. And then teams that play 4 times with 1 off night, Minnesota, Detroit, Montreal. Again, I don't know if there's a lot of meaningful, readily available players from either of those teams, but again, check your wire. And then the Leafs play 4 times, but they are all on quote-unquote busy nights. I believe they are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So maybe you can squeeze somebody on the Sunday game. Yeah, and then teams that play 3 times with 2 off nights, Anaheim, Chicago, Columbus. Small note with Columbus, they play Monday, and then they don't play again until Friday. So like I said earlier, if you could maybe squeak somebody in for that Monday game, then drop them and add somebody else for the Tuesday, Wednesday slot or a Wednesday, Thursday slot. Again, you're always trying to maximize your games played in the playoffs. And then teams that play 3 times with 1 off night, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Winnipeg Jets. 3 really good teams, so I doubt you're going to get any meaningful players off of there. Yeah, and then the worst teams next week, these are teams that I think because Florida doesn't even play until later in the week. Yeah, they don't play until Friday. They play Friday, Sunday. I would seriously consider dropping even some of their more meaningful players because it is the playoffs. Like, I'm not saying Barkov or Reinhart. Let's not get crazy here. But like a Seth Jones, I think he's very expendable, even though he was getting top power play. I don't know if he still is. But players like that, like even Sam Bennett, unless you're in like a hits league, I'd seriously consider dropping him. And yeah, consider the schedule next week. Their schedule isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Yeah, those players are definitely expendable. And Boston, oh boy, I don't know if anyone's worth hanging on to in Boston outside of Pasternak. Pasta might be the only one I'm not dropping in Boston, and that's because everyone's either injured or they suck. That's me being about as polite as I can possibly be. And then finally, last but not least, I want to remind you, like I just said, it is the playoffs. It's either your first, it's likely your second round, but it's either your first or second round. There is no tomorrow. Nobody is off limits outside of like your super duper stars. If you've got ads left towards the end of the week and you're losing, you need to maximize those games. You got to have like Saturday and Sunday with them not being off nights. They're both busy. Your roster should be 110% full on Saturday and Sunday. You should have all of those games filled and getting as many games played as you can going into the final days of the week to make sure that you push into the final or be either your semis or your finals, quarterfinals, sorry. Be one of those two. And with that being said, I think that about wraps it. Oh, if this is your bye week, you want to be using your ads right now to prepare for next week's matchup so that you can maximize your ads even again there. Because now you go from having 5 ads next week to 10. Or if you have 4 in a week, it's now 8. You can now, assuming you can get them all in, you might not be, 8's a lot. 8 to 10's a lot. But you can always add games played by streaming in and out players, especially when you have a week to prepare. That'll about wrap it up.
Nice. Well said. Yeah. That's good advice for those people on those buys. You know, those are some good managers out there. So
yeah,
never hurts to have good advice. So shifting gears, now that Graham is back, he can take credit for our degenerate segment. So this is Dax Degenerates. This is sponsored by BetStamp. We did have one of our AWLs, one of our loyal listeners, checked out the BetStamp app. He entered the promo code between the benches in that little promo code section. He got some exclusive offers. Check them out. That's like the encyclopedia for betting. Gives you like a nice little like, oh my God, look, Rangers plus money. Oh, I don't want that, but I'm going to take Toronto plus money. That's what we're going to go with. And then also, Graham wanted to throw out Avalanche minus 110 over Ottawa. So we were torn. We're only going to include Graham's bet because that's how this segment works. And the record is 5-3 with Graham. So
without
Graham, do you have anything to say?
No,
with Graham.
We're technically. Yeah, I was going to say we're technically 2-1 or 2-3 without Graham. Sorry.
Okay, so we're 3-0 with Graham, is what you're saying. Gotcha.
Yeah, 2-3 without
all
Graham.
the bets I gave to other bowlers during the World Series of Bowling hit.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm on a heater.
He has not shut up about it. He has not shut up about it.
He did tell me about this too on Sunday. He's
very quick to tell everybody about this.
Hey, when you're hot, it's hard.
You guys
March,
are
baby.
wise to listen.
It's
Colorado's getting the win.
Yeah, it's March.
Okay.
Well, speaking
Colorado?
of being on a heater,
yeah.
Speaking of being on a heater, who's on the opposite of being in a heater right now, Graham? Who you put in the bin?
San Jose Sharks.
Oh no!
For the sole reason that they're the first team to be eliminated from playoff contention this year, and the Shark Tank is in full effect, as expected. But you still got to point it out.
Shout out to our other loyal listener, Fanjoy. She's a Sharks fan, but she was trying to find a way to put a Sharks segment in this podcast when it first started. And I said maybe we'd call it like In the Tank or something, but apparently I was right because they actually are in the tank. And that was our first installment of In the Tank. And congratulations. we may not ever do it again. But
shout out to you.
We'll have lottery watches. Sharks will be brought up.
Yep.
Yeah.
They will be talked about.
They got Celebrini and Will Smith. You know, they'll be fine.
Well, they got a good future.
The future's very bright. Yeah, the future's very bright.
Yeah. Brock, who you putting in the bin? Who you got?
I have 2. And I'm going to do one from previous when we were supposed to record last week. I'm going to put whoever designed the chameleon oil pattern for this year's World Series of Bowling. Graham, can you relay this information? Because you could have averaged from what you told me, you could have averaged 240. And for anyone you non-bowlers, averaging 240 out of a possible 300 max score on what is supposed to be a hard sports pattern, a very, very difficult pattern, and not make money. You could have averaged 240 and made no money, not a check, nothing. That is unforgivable as far as I'm concerned. From you had one job and you fucked. Like 240 is like, dude, you missed on average twice a game. On average, 2.5 times a game. Like that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, bin. I don't know his name, but whoever designed that, you're in the bin.
Spoken like a true low man. Who's your other one?
Wow. All right. And my other one, my other one came literally as I was watching the highlights from the Leafs game tonight. I only got to see bits of the third, but if you go watch the game winner tonight, shorty from Stephen Lawrence from a clear from their own end that hits Kelly Sutherland, the referee, to kill the puck in the neutral zone, giving Lawrence, and I forget who was on the other side, a 2-on-1. Lawrence shelves it. They go up 2-1, and that turns out to be your game winner. And if you watch him try to get out of the way, I'm really not sure what he's doing. Like, it looks like he wanted to jump, but then he didn't, but he did. And then the puck happens to hit him as he's falling. It's very awkward. And man, if I'm an Avs fan, I'm throwing stuff at the TV watching that shit. It's not really on his fault, but it is funny to watch. So sorry, Kelly Sutherland, you're in the bin. Suck it, go Leafs.
Yeah. There it is. Well, I'm putting Southwest Airlines in the bin. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they took over all of social media last week. It was on Tuesday, to your point, when we were supposed to record. But they got rid of their 54-year policy of free checked bags.
Two check bags.
Yeah, 2 check bags. Sorry. So I was reading through like the internet and Twitter and X. I love a good X thread. If you know me, I will get lost for hours and just I love a good comment. I love a good just anyway. But people are calling it basically the decision of an outcome. If you put a study group together and ask the question, what is going to destroy our company the quickest? And that was the answer, was to
Delta, come on down.
So Delta's the big winner in this. Southwest Airlines in the bin. Obviously, we know a lot of bowlers. I know I'm friends with a lot of bowlers on social media, and all the memes, they really showed up well. They really outdid themselves as far as the bowling community memes. We need to give them more credit. I think there needs to be more trending topics in the bowling community so these keyboard warriors can make these memes, because some of them are really good. I mean, they were amazing. I was having a ball. So thanks to Southwest Airlines for doing a nice suicide dive and going in the bin this week. So, but now we got to get positive. We got to turn it around. And I think, Graham, you're going to go first this time. Who you giving the C to?
I mean, we've given this guy the C so many times, but I got to give it to him again. Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
He's passed Gretzky for, I believe, 6th of all time for most points.
You have 4th.
I have 4th. Okay, I was just pulling it up on my phone, and 4th all time for most points recorded with a single franchise. He passed Wayne Gretzky to do it. And let me just pull up one stat here that I just found very fun.
I think you've given Sidney Crosby your C like 3 or 4 times this year.
It's almost like you regret. Yeah, it's almost like you want to,
He just gets the C.
Yeah, I bet he does.
It took him 20 seasons to pass Wayne Gretzky. How many seasons did Wayne Gretzky have?
Oh boy,
12.
No, he played more than that.
No, for one singular team.
For one
franchise.
Singular team.
Yeah, he played
that's what I'm saying.
So it was with the Oilers.
12.
Yeah. No, I bet you it's like 10.
8.
Crosby was 20.
I bet you it's 9 or 10.
Was
9 or 10.
9.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I bet you it's half of that. Yeah, fucking stupid.
That's so
fucking
crazy.
Stupid. Half the time. Less than half the time. Yeah, less than half the time.
But he passed him.
My God, Crosby did it. Yeah,
he's got 1,700 less shots than Alex Ovechkin too. So just keep that in mind.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, good see.
And
Crosby
he's 54
continues to
away
do
from passing, or 55 from passing Mario.
Oh, so that'll happen next year.
So
for
next
sure.
year.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Well,
next
if he's
year
still
for sure.
if he's still a Penguin, so
True.
That's true.
All right,
But
Brock, who are you giving
he
your seat
is
to?
under contract. I want to give it to, again, we haven't recorded since the trade deadline. I want to give mine to NHL front offices because that was far and away the best trade deadline I think we've had since I started caring about hockey for like the better part of the last 10, 12 years. That is far and away the best trade deadline. The heavyweights that push their chips in to possibly only get bounced in the first round has made this one of the most appetizing, playoff road to the playoffs that I think we've ever had the pleasure of watching. Like Dallas and Colorado absolutely blew their wads this deadline, and they might have to play each other. Like one of them's out in the first round, almost certainly. It's crazy. It's crazy. The same with Tampa, Florida. One of them might not be out in the first round because one of them's going to play the Leafs, so one of them will be in the second round. But it's crazy that these teams, how many teams pushed in, and like how many firsts got moved this year? It had to be at least 10, at least. Like Dallas traded 2 alone, Colorado traded 2, Toronto traded 2. Wait, no, Toronto only traded 1, but that's 5 right there. That's 5 right there. I just did that without even thinking. So I bet you it was closer to 10. Crazy. NHL front offices, thank you so much for not being little girls and saying, oh, it's hard to make trades. No, they actually did their job and they made trades. They made their teams better. And I'm acknowledging that.
Hell yeah. Couldn't agree more. It's always good to see those pieces moving, like Sidney Crosby playing for a new team next year. Speaking of giving C's out and moving. So baseball's upon us. Springtime is here. I don't know if you checked the weather. We had tornado warnings in Chicago today, which just ended up being a bunch of lightning. But anyway, the Kansas Jayhawks, I don't know if you guys saw this for college baseball. They are playing in US Bank Stadium, which is up in Minnesota. It's where the Vikings play. But they achieved the feat of going back to back home runs as a team. They hit 5 straight home runs in a game against Minnesota. They did win the game, but they literally had 5 straight home runs. Yeah, the video is great. You gotta watch.
Never happened in MLB history, by the way.
The announcer.
Oh, that's incredible.
Never happened. The announcer was having a field day. Great clip.
Oh yeah.
On social media and check that out. Nice time. And then yeah, exactly. I don't believe it. Working overtime. Remember when Donald Trump came in office, he said overtime wasn't going to be taxed. So overtime gets the C because ex-Oilers D-man Cody Ceci, who is now acquired of the Dallas Stars of the trade deadline. He is currently on pace to become the 9th player in NHL history to have played at least 85 games in one singular regular season. Now they do have 82 game regular seasons. So he's on pace to play 85 if he plays the rest of Dallas's schedule. So keep that in mind. Pop quiz. There have been 2 other men to play the record amount of games in the NHL regular season. Can you tell me how many games, and can you name me one of the 2 guys or both of them?
I can tell you the games. It's 86.
Okay. That is
I
correct.
only know
87. That's correct.
I only know this because 32 Thoughts did this exact little quiz.
Yep.
And I know they said the names and I can't fucking remember them. They're both like a little innocuous. I know the one I had never even heard of.
One is a late night talk show host, or used to be.
Nope.
Okay,
Jimmy Carson is one of them.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh, okay,
the
Jimmy Carson show. Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't know he played in the NHL.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one was Bob. God, I'm gonna butcher this. Sorry, Kudlinski.
Yeah, that was the one I didn't know.
Kudlinski?
I'd have to even look at it.
I don't know.
That was the one I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
So 86 games.
86 games in a regular season. So he's gonna shout out to Cody Ceci. He's gonna play 5, and then last one that I had was Landlords, because I don't know if you saw this too, but Brandon Tanev, since he got traded to Winnipeg, him and Luke Shen are living with Mark Scheifele. So he said the landlord quote, the landlord is it's a great landlord situation is what he called it, unquote. So when asked about it. So shout out to Mark Scheifele, great landlord. Could you have some like grown men living in your house? Like, I know you're a professional athlete, technically, Graham. So, like, could you see, like, if you if somebody had to come live in your house with you during the season? Could you guys imagine that?
I'm sure Mark Shifley's house is bigger than the house I have.
That's
It's a fair guess.
Fair. That's fair.
Well, I mean, I got a spare bed.
But yeah,
it'll be on the floor.
Hell yeah.
You guys would
That's
know.
not nothing.
Wait, you have a spare bed? Why am I sleeping on the floor?
That's not nothing.
Carpeted.
So, oh man. Well, fair enough. Well, do we have anything else we'd like to add? You got anything? Did I miss anything? Any housekeeping?
It is just good to be back.
Yeah. It's fun to have the
crunch
thruple.
time now.
It's fun to have the thruple back.
Yeah, we gotta lock in. We gotta get on our playoff run. You know what I mean? Like, no more shaving. We gotta get the playoff beards in.
Oh no.
We gotta be better podcasters. You know,
You guys shave?
we really gotta be ship shape here down this playoff stretch run. You know.
I like your thought. I like your thinking.
So, all right.
I
Well, from
your face.
myself, Dak, the rest of the crew, Graham, Big Canada Daddy, we are the Between the Benches podcast. Make sure to give us a like, follow, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out next week. We'll bring you more news and notes from the NHL. Until then.
See ya.
And that concludes this week's episode of Between the Benches. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and check us out on YouTube. Also hit the like and subscribe button and look out for the next episode. Until next week, you Harley Riders.
Doc, what a fitting ending! This is incredible!